Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of The Audacious Dutchman podcast. A name that hopefully you remember better than I just did. The idea behind the podcast is I actually don't have a format for it yet. So I'm going to noodle around a little bit, just have a little bit of fun, try out some stuff. I really would love to hear your feedback on it, and the most important bit is if you're watching, get something to drink or a couple of things to drink and have a couple of beers. Just sit back and relax. If you want to get involved, make sure that you put your feedback down below. Make sure that you're incredibly aggressive. There's nothing better than receiving really aggressive feedback. That's really good, so please make sure that you're inappropriate, aggressive, nasty. That stuff's all really good. But if you sort of want it to be nice as well, you're more than welcome to do that. That would also be appreciated. That would be good. So thank you. And as always, today's podcast is brought to you by Smart Yards Gardening. If you want a smart looking yard and you have a yard and you either buy or rent a yard, you should get the yard looking smart from Smart Yards. Okay, this next part of the podcast is, I'm not sure yet. It's either going to be called an audacious analysis, or it might be called Things That Bothered Me Last Week. I'm not really sure. If you are watching and you have an opinion, please give it to me in the comments. And I have 3 topics this week. I'm going to start off by talking about... we will talk about vloggers to start. So recently, my wife gave birth to our first and only son, so I took 2 weeks off. I was at home, and that was good, but what was not so good is I got to enjoy, partaking in my wife's viewing habits, her YouTube specifically, her YouTube stream, which is different to my YouTube stream. And if you're a guy, it's probably very similar to your wife or girlfriend's YouTube stream. So my wife enjoys watching, how do I put this nicely? Other women who have, I don't know how to put this. Maybe they have ambition. They're boss bitches, basically. I was trying to work out a sort of satirical way to put that, and I couldn't come up with anything. They're self-proclaimed boss bitches. They're hustlers, boss bitches, people who are going out and getting it, whatever it is, which is fine. Like, there's absolutely no problem with getting it or being a a boss bitch. That's good. If that's something, then that's good. If that's something you want to do, I mean. But my issue is with a lot of the programming, should I say, in it. So basically, it's probably about as interesting as my podcast, which is ironic. I'm going to get stuck into them, but anyway. A lot of these women, what they'll do is they have a YouTube that's based around their day. So the idea is that they're business women, they're hustlers, and their vlog is them hustling, which is good. So often what they'll do, I suppose the idea is like, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to show you my balanced lifestyle of workout, take a fuck ton of meetings. This is how you are successful and make money. But the reality is, usually what happens is these women wake up at what seems to be about 9:30 in the morning. They'll stretch. I'm awake now. In bed, which they're filming themselves wake up. which read into that what you will. And then they sort of say, like, I've got a really busy day today. I've got this. And then they start off by doing yoga at 10 o'clock after they've checked their Instagram, which is good. You need to check your Instagram, I think. So that's good. And then they'll have a yoga, and then maybe sort of around, so what it was that 10 o'clock they're doing the yoga, and then they will have a bowl of a glorified bowl of cereal. There will be some nuts. There will be some granules. There will be a source of protein. There must be 2 drinks. So there's always a smoothie and some sort of coffee that is not a normal coffee. So I like to drink a long black. It would be a matcha tea or something like that, which is arguably not a coffee, but they will have something like that. Which is good. I suppose you do need to do that to sort of get into your day, break in at about 11 a.m. in the morning. That's important because you've got a big day ahead. So that's a good way to start, I suppose. And then they have a meeting. They'll have probably a sort of 11:45 early lunch meeting. It's a big lunch meeting, and it's usually with another influencer. And what they'll do is put the camera on the other side of the restaurant and sort of film them eating a piece of toast with a piece of fruit on it, which is good. And there will often be a blazer, a laptop that's sort of open, never referred to, and lots of hand gestures, sort of like we're making it happen. We need to think big picture on this piece of fucking toast in front of us, which is good. And then they will walk the dog, go home, walk the dog, and then go to their activewear factory, because they have an activewear factory, which is sort of a catch-22. It's interesting. So they've started a pair of booty shorts or yoga pants or something like that, because there was nothing on the market that was sustainable and fit their specific body shape. More likely they have 2 million subscribers and they've gone, holy fuck, I can sell these fucking invalids my shorts if I get them on wish.com and put them in a warehouse in Clayton, and put a logo on it that says fucking, I was going to actually say one of their names, I can't say one of their names, Vivacious Life leggings on it. And then they'll sell that. They will buy that from some crying Bangladeshi fucking child. The shorts are still wet from the tears of the child who's been paid nothing. And then they will buy that for 13 cents and sell that for $125, which is good, on their website called Beauty by Kate or whatever it is. And that's good. So they've gone to the factory, and then they come home and have a glass of wine because it's a Tuesday. Probably have a Xanax, but not sure the Xanax. And go to sleep and wake up at 9:30 in the morning. Which, I mean, if that's like a thing, then that's good, I suppose. If you've worked out a way of making money, I think that's good. I think it's important to sell people a pair of pants with a worse logo than Nike for twice the price. I think that's really important. If there is a gap in the market, it's really good to try and fill that gap with your crap. But yeah, I think I sort of at the end of the paternity leave was a little bit over watching these videos. Occasionally we would sort of flip back and I'd get Top Gear put on, which was good. Arguably there's not a lot of substance in Top Gear either, but it's Top Gear. So that's good. There was some other sort of vlogs as well. So my wife was, Mrs. Pater was watching a lot of mum vlogs, because she'd just become a mum, which is fair enough. And some of them were, jokes aside, they were good. Like, there was a lot of, like, here's how to deal with a tongue tie, which we thought our baby might have. Here's how to feed. Here's how to burp, which is all good. Like, it's scary to become a parent if you're not a parent. it's scary. There's a lot that you don't really know, and there's a lot of books and videos are just easier if you're someone like me who probably has ADHD and doesn't read books. But the one that got me was all these sort of women who were the ones I talked about earlier that will sell a pair of shorts on the internet have now had kids, and they're sort of transitioning out of being a toast influencer into more of a mum influencer, which is interesting. So a lot of these guys, there's one in particular that, as far as I can deduce, was a very attractive woman who married a very rich sort of man, himbo sort of thing. And he had a marketing company that was doing well enough to get sort of a Mercedes G-Wagon sort of thing. And basically, she put her body onto the internet, which may or may not have been cosmetically enhanced thanks to the income of the husband, which is okay, like that's pretty cool. And then she sold a pair of shorts onto the internet, which is good. And then she so she was transitioning away from being a shorts and toast influencer into a mum influencer, which is fine, but the bit that I have been struggling with a lot of these women who are sort of transitioning out of toast and into children is what they call their children, because it's as fucking pretentious as the figs that they put on their rye bread, the names of their children. I actually wrote some down because they were beyond belief. What do we got here? Notes. Okay, so we've got Smoke, Hunter, Posey, Fox Ocean, middle name Ocean, are some of the ones I've heard. So, yeah. Basically, these, I called my son Henry, because I wanted to create a world where, if he decided he wanted to do something with his life, like become Prime Minister or something like that, his parents weren't so fucking stupid to put a cap on his potential. Nobody in the history of the world is ever going to vote Fox Ocean for fucking Prime Minister. I say that, but we voted in Anthony Albanese. But he had a real name. We've had 2 Tony Prime Ministers now. Call your fucking son Tony. Don't call him Fox Ocean. Nobody is going to go and fucking tick the ballot form next to Fox Ocean and put it in the thing. That's it. Fox Ocean is not a name. It's an animal. And these people have all sort of just named their children after things, rather than names. And I think the weird names are going away. We've got a really close friend, and I think it's a generational thing. So I'm a Generation Z. I'm Gen Z, and I was raised by Gen Xers, and my parents were Gen Xers. But a lot of these sort of toast people are Gen Ys, and they're raising, I don't know, idiots, but I don't know what they've called that generation yet, the next generation. But a lot of the people in my life are having kids at 25. They're naming their kids normal things. We've got a close friend who's called their kid Spencer, which is a name, not a fucking animal, which is good. It's good. He might have a chance of sort of doing something with his life, which would be nice. The other one I saw is one of these women. They sort of drag their husbands into the videos from time to time, and these men all sort of look like they're being held hostage. You know what I mean? It's like their balls have been temporarily borrowed and left in the shed, in the fucking bench vice. And they're allowed them back after they've picked cushions and curtains at the fucking curtain store at Fountain Gate. They all just seem a little bit sort of scared, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like a hostage situation. It doesn't seem natural, which concerns me. I think we should probably look into that further, maybe. I mean, if these men are actually being held hostage by their wives, we should there should be some sort of action going on, you probably shouldn't like and subscribe. You should probably call the police or something like that. But that is sort of the end of my gripe, I think. I'll check my notes. I think that's the end of my gripe with, Posey. That was a good one. Posey's a good name. If you want your kid to bite other children, I guess. Irrelevant object, geographical. You could call your child after a geographical mass, animal, or just an adjective in general. These people speak in broken sentences, which at the time really pissed me off, but as I record my first podcast, I'm sort of listening, and I speak in broken sentences as well. So that is the pot, probably calling the kettle Anglo. But what else we got? I think that's it. Toast, walking dogs. Yeah, that's it. That's it for vloggers. The segment is called I Apologise. It's when I clean up my mess during the week. Because pretty regularly I'll fuck up and say something or do something that... I have good intentions. It's just sometimes really hard to be a part of the world. And when you try and be a part of the world, a lot of the time you're going to fuck it up. So this is a segment called I Apologise. The first one is to a lady I met this week who is going into labour in, 2 months or something like that. I have an 8-week-old son. We were tired. It was not a good day for me to be having a conversation about being a parent. And basically, we've decided to have one child for a couple of reasons. I think you can drive a more interesting car. 2 children feed off each other, and it's like not twice the problem. I think it's like 58 times the problem. And these may or may not have been some of the things that I said to this woman on the day that she was really, really stressed about having her second child. And basically, I sort of just sat there, thought... I sort of got momentum and just kept going and was a bit tone deaf, and I completely just absolutely smothered her with negativity. So I'd like to apologise for that. That was probably not what you needed to hear as you're stressed about having a second child. I've heard that having a second child's worse because you know what you're getting yourself into, you know what labour feels like, and you know what to expect. So I'm really sorry about adding to your stress level, telling you that these kids are going to make each other fight. You're going to have to get rid of your interesting car. You have to go on worse holidays. Your grocery bill's going to be more. You're going to be dealing with a teething child at the same time as a child that's walking. And yeah, that was just not my finest hour. So I'd like to apologise for basically trying to make small talk on a really bad day. I should have just kept my mouth shut. So I'm sorry. The second I apologise is addressed to my future brother-in-law. He just got engaged to... Well, he didn't get engaged. He just asked my sister-in-law to marry him. So yeah, they got engaged. And basically, he's going back to Sri Lanka with my sister-in-law. And we all caught up around the in-laws' house to sort of raise a glass and say... best of luck, enjoy. They're going for a month, and we're all pretty close family. So yeah, I was sort of a little bit drunk at that point. Probably the only one there actually a little bit drunk, which didn't help. It's sort of like accidentally painting a wall pink, and then going, oh fuck, this is supposed to be blue, and you just keep painting the whole wall instead of stop drinking. You just have... Anyway, I said to him without thinking, and I'm not like a bad person, and this wasn't done on purpose, but basically I said to him, enjoy your trip to India. And I wasn't trying to be a racist person or funny, or I didn't mean anything by it. I just opened my mouth, and my slightly drunk and I guess inadvertently racist. I never classified myself as a racist person, but I don't know, if you open up your mouth and say India's Sri Lanka and they're the same thing without thinking about it, I guess that makes you a racist person. It's like those sort of old people that say, I'm not racist, but, and then everything that comes out of their mouth afterwards is just like fucking really grim towards Indigenous people. We all know an uncle like that. So yeah, the second I apologise is to my brother-in-law. I apologise. I'm aware that Sri Lanka and India are different places. I don't think that it's just all the same place. I'm, I'd like to say more intelligent than that, but obviously not. And I have been paying attention to your heritage and understand the pride that you probably do have in your heritage. I was not trying to diminish your heritage or make a statement about people from Southeast Asia. It was a simple mistake. I'd like to probably attribute some of the blame to the Carlton and United Breweries Company. I think that they had a good part to play in it, probably at the end of the sixth can. I think that was part of their problem as well. So I'm sorry, and I'd like to extend the apology on their behalf as well. I think they're probably sorry. I don't think they're going to tweet, but I think that if we got them in the room anyway, I think they probably would be sorry. Today's episode is proudly brought to you by Smart Yards Gardening. If you own a garden or are renting someone else's garden, and you like beer or going in the spa or just generally watching Top Gear, then what you should be doing is not spending any time in the garden, and you should get Smart Yards to come out and do your garden. And while they do your garden, you should actually get a beer and sit there and lean up against a wall and watch them mow the lawn, and make sure you say missed a bit. I think that last bit is probably the most important bit, telling them that they missed a bit, even if they didn't, because you just sort of need to make sure that they're not getting cocky, because they do a really good job, and the problem is if they're doing a good job and it's all really positive feedback, they'll go, aren't we fucking fantastic? So you just sort of need to say, fucking oi, missed a bit. And that'll be good. So, go to the link below if you would like to have someone come and do your garden for you while you get smashed. And if you're a smoker, make sure you blow smoke in their face to take them down a peg, because they're really good and they're going to do an excellent job. And it's really important to make sure they don't get a big head, because the work is just up there. And, if you're too nice to people, it goes to their head. So just basically make sure you're really mean to them. Okay, so the second sort of topic in this... which one do I want to talk about? I think I want to talk about... I'm not really sure about this one. It bothered me, but I don't have great notes. So I'll sort of bumble through it a little bit. And I might pull the pin on it a little bit earlier than vloggers. It's stealth camping. So whilst I was on paternity leave, basically I got really bored. I definitely have some level of ADHD. I can't even stop fiddling with my microphone. Actually, the evidence of me having ADHD is I was writing a joke. I was doing some research on Pangea. I was trying to... the way I write material is I will sort of come up... I'll watch a documentary, which is incredibly not funny, and I'll try and see if there's anything funny in it. So I have a bunch of topics written down. Pangea was one of them, and I was watching a documentary on it. And I found myself not being able to focus on the start of the documentary. And then so I skipped back and watched the start. It was one of those BBC documentaries, and you know how they always have such a rich piece of fucking lovely language at the start, like since the dawn of time and the ages of man, browbeaten by their own independent, there was too many concepts, and I just don't have that level of attention span. I think that's why Top Gear's good for me, because it's sort of warmed up and you just eat it. You don't have to be very intelligent to watch Top Gear. You have to be very intelligent to watch David Attenborough, which I'm not. So I think, where's I going with that? I got distracted. I was doing that, and then I couldn't watch that, and then I thought, fuck, what if I have ADHD? And I went online and I did an ADHD test, and it was too long for me, and I got distracted by an ad on the side for a Ford Ranger, and then I was building a Ford Ranger Wildtrak, and then I turned the Pangea documentary off, and I was watching a Ranger Raptor video, which I didn't finish because I thought that the inside of the Ranger Raptor was such a good dashboard, and then I wanted to know if it was a better dashboard than the Singer Porsche. So basically, you can see I can't actually finish anything. I just have to, and evidenced by the fact that this is about stealth camping, this piece of dialogue here, and we're not even talking about stealth camping. We're now talking about fucking my ADHD, well, potential ADHD. I've not gone to the doctor, because I can't think of anything worse than sitting in a waiting room to find out if I have ADHD. No, the real reason is because I probably wouldn't want to go on Ritalin. So I'm going to go and I'm going to give Dr. Do Fuck All $110 for him to say, yeah, I think that you're a bit dumb. No, I think that you have ADHD. And there you go. You can have Ritalin if you want, and I don't want the Ritalin. So I choose to do nothing. This is what I choose. It is still a free country. It's not really a free state anymore in Victoria. It's getting worse and worse. But I choose to do nothing, as is my constitutional right. So that's good. But we were talking about stealth camping. I was up with the kid, and I was just sort of noodling around in my feed, and I saw it was like a stealth camping on a roundabout thing, the thumbnail, and I thought that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, and I clicked on it because the dude had like 2 million subscribers. 2 million subscribers! Which I just found really interesting. So I had a look, and I thought that the video was one of the funniest things I've seen this year, because it was unintentionally funny, and I don't think that anyone else would have found it funny. I think the only reason I found it funny is because I found him to be a curious character. So this is a chap who now likely makes a lot of money by doing stealth camping videos. And everyone's like, well, of course you're going to do them because you're making a lot of money. Like, why would you stop? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, blah, 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 blah. But there was a day one where he had no followers, no subscribers, much like right now. The reason I'm sitting down and doing this is because I enjoy going in the shed and having a beer and just ranting. This man's idea of that is to go, the way that he enjoys himself is to go into a roundabout in the bushes and sleep there at night. Now, I don't think he is actually homeless. I think he enjoys the idea of being homeless, though. It's sort of like people who enjoy cross-dressing. It's a bit like that. I looked it up because I was curious if there was a technical term for someone with this, I don't want to say disease, condition, and there wasn't. So I've come up with it, and what I came up with is it's destitutional eroticism. And what I mean by that is destitutional just means that you are destitute, you don't have a house. And eroticism means erotic, sexual. He gets off on the idea of going into a roundabout and being a sneaky fucker and staying there. That's what butters his biscuits, really, which is good. I thought that was interesting. I pressed on, I watched the video, and he not only stays in the roundabout, but what he'll periodically do is leave the roundabout to see if you can see his setup. So this little prick is actively trying He's pushing the boundaries. He's trying to get caught. He's coming and going. He does it 3 times in the video. The most gripping part of the video is when, this is in Canada, and they sort of have like community watch people that are not the police, but their job is to sort of go like, holy fuck, there's a weird bloke in that roundabout with a tent. We need to call the police and get him put into a mental institution. They drove past, I can't remember what he called them, like peacekeepers or something like that. They kept circling the roundabout, and that was probably the most gripping part of the video. And I don't want you to think that I was not entertained. I continue to watch. I'm now a subscriber. I'm finding it very, very interesting. I comment on every video. This is fantastic. I want to see more. One of the good videos was he sort of brings his butane burner in, and the burner blew up, which was good. He was cooking in somewhere, I can't remember, it wasn't a roundabout, it was like behind a police station or something, which is where he decided to spend the night, because that's a fucking good idea. And his butane burner just fucking flames went everywhere. So that was a funny episode. He will often bring a beer in, which is good, which, I mean, I would too. I do. Like, I'm having a beer right now. That's good. I think that's a good idea to do that. But I've showed stealth camping to a couple of people now, and I've definitely overhyped it. I'll send them a message and sort of just, I don't want to go in too hard, but I'll send them a message and just sort of say like, hey, here's a link to roundabout camping. This is the funniest thing that I've ever seen. Makes Top Gear look like a Year 12 project, and pretty regularly I get back, this is ridiculous, I don't understand, I watched half of it and I turned it off, you're an idiot. So I'd be curious for you guys to watch stealth camping. Tell me what you think. If you think it's funny to watch someone get their jollies out by being a sneaky little fuck and breaking the law in one of the most ridiculous and normcore ways possible, I'd be very curious to sort of hear that. Yo, it's me again, trying to sell you some gardening. If you have a garden, make sure that you get it gardened by the gardeners who are going to make sure your garden looks like a good garden and a healthy garden. Smart Yards will get your yard looking as smart as a smart little boy in his school uniform. That's creepy. Looking as smart as a computer scientist with a monocle. That's how smart. And that's really, really smart. So enjoy today's podcast, and it has been brought to you by Smart Yards. Okay, here's something else that, this is the third topic. Something else that has really ground my gears, no pun intended there. Not only this week, specifically probably for the last, how old are Teslas now? No, not that long, because Teslas are actually okay. 6 months. 6 months to a year now. I'm going on record as saying that car design is not all of it. That's like saying, I don't know, all McDonald's is crap. Sometimes you get really good McDonald's or really good KFC. You get a really, really crispy KFC. It's like saying KFC is crap. Sometimes you get really fresh, delicious KFC. But I'm going to go on record as saying most car design these days is disgusting. And I think it's because of the culture that we live in today. I think we have a cultural issue where basically we're soft cucks, basically, is what I think, for the environment and for a lot of stuff. I think in order to have really, really good car design, you have to have a risky society. You have to have a society where people are sort of, I don't want to say going out and burning baby seals to death, because that's aggressive, but I want a level of coal mining. I want a level of drilling into the earth. I think that's good. Let's warm this motherfucker up, is basically what I'm saying. If you have a look at the 60s, yeah? The 60s was easily the best decade for car design. Easily. E-Type Jag, 66 Mustang, actually 64 and a half is when the Mustang came in, and that was in a stunning shape. The Corvette Stingray was the 60s, American Muscle was the 60s and the 70s, but really the 60s, the Ferraris of the 60s, sort of the, what do we have? I think the Daytona was the 60s. That was stunning. Porsches were coming out in the 60s. That sort of, the Speedster was the 60s. What else did we have in the 60s? The FJ40, the Land Cruiser, the best looking Land Cruiser they ever made. That was the 60s, should I say? Every fucking good looking British sports car was in the 60s, and I think it's because of the sexual revolution. I think that people were just taking a lot of risks for the first time ever. The 40s and the 50s, they were just basically, they were in black and white, and they ate meat and 3 vegetables, got married, and went to work every day. And in the 60s, they dropped acid, took the pill, and they went to festivals, and they went into the woods with a combi and attached it to the tree, and they were just very, very free people. And I think you need a level of taking mushrooms, and smoking pot, and, a level of, whether you think it's right or not, a level of unfaithfulness in your car designer. Unfaithfulness not meaning someone who's fucking around a lot, rather than living a sort of a normal life, to create something like the Lamborghini Miura. The Lamborghini Miura was, I believe, designed by like a really young guy after hours. Or it was designed in like a really short period of time, because basically what they did is they just took psilocybin and got a pencil out and just drew the best shape ever. Now, I mean, if you have a look culturally, our version of our revolution now is, well, frankly, people deciding to cut off their genitalia, which is fine. I'm an ally. But you can't have good car design when you're having, your revolution is cutting off your testicles and you've outlawed drugs. You can't have good car design if that's culturally what's going on. So I think what we need to do is people need to stop cutting off their testicles. They need to take mushrooms. Specifically car designers, I'm pretty happy with. Everyone else, you can do whatever you want, but car designers specifically, I want you to go to work on fire. You need to live the most zany, crazy life ever. 365 days a year, I want 210 of them with you being off your face, getting your stomach pumped, going to Ibiza. You got to go to Ibiza, which will be good, and just get a fucking grey lead out and a piece of paper. You gotta have some weekends other than the 210 days. 20 days a year, go to work, draw 2 cars like the Lamborghini Miura and Jag E-Type equivalent, submit those, and then also we need to fire in Lamborghini, well, Lamborghini's now Audi, we need to fire the accountants and the sort of quality control people in those companies who would go, that's ridiculous, you can't put a gun on the back of a Lamborghini because guns are illegal in Australia, for example. We need to sort of get rid of anyone with a really sort of sensible idea. They need to be fucked off to the shithouse. And we just need ridiculous ideas only. And then I think we can stop having issues that we have now, like the brand new BMW range. Frankly, there's a car, I can't remember what it's called. I haven't given it I haven't committed it to memory because I don't want to. It's horrible. It's hideously horrible. What have we got here? The BMW. Oh, come on. 911 Turbo Ferrari. The BMW iX. So that is basically a gerbil that's had an allergic reaction to something it's eaten and now it's bloated. It's disgustingly hideous. It's $180,000. And for someone to take $180,000 and buy that over the M3 wagon, which has just come out. So the argument would be made that the iX is a better car for the environment. It's more I don't want sensible. I want my car to... I want to be able to look back. Nobody's going to look back. Nobody's going to collect a BMW iX. What they're going to do in 10 years is use it to fucking stop a door banging in the wind. That is all that car's good for. It's disgusting. And if you have $180,000 a year, that means that you have gone through life thinking outside of the box. Someone who has access to $180,000 for a car doesn't have a job. What they have is a business or a clever investment strategy, which means that they are able to achieve escape velocity. They think outside of the box, they think differently to people, and their intellect is so high that they are able to operate outside the framework that is jammed down your neck since primary school. Day one, primary school, you're told, line up. Yeah? You're told to be a part of a system, a cog in a fucking series of cogs that make the world go round. Enjoy receiving $100,000 a year, go home, drive a Subaru, and do nothing. If you have access to $180,000 a year, you were clever enough to break that mold and achieve excellence. And you're pissing it against the wall that is the BMW iX. Wake up. Buy an M3 wagon. It's got the same seats. It's got the same storage capacity. It is the most attractive thing I've seen in a really long time. It has a lot of I don't know how many horsepower it has. For the sake of the conversation, let's say it has 600 horsepower. It has a drift button inside, which is good. You could drop your kids off to school sideways. Can you imagine what that will do for their credibility? That's the other point here as well. If you drop your kid off to school in a BMW iX, you hate them and you want them to be bullied. You want them to go to class. Little fucking Timmy, actually not Timmy. If you got $180,000 a year, you've called your kids Smoke. You want Smoke to go to school and get bullied by fucking Keith. Because Keith's dad has a HSV. Because Keith's dad's a fucking gangster. And you're a nerd because you bought a BMW iX and it's disgusting. It's the worst looking car that has ever been created, and you should be buying a BMW M3. And if you have a different opinion, I'd like to invite you to down below, keep it to yourself. The other one is Ferrari. So if you look, now I've written down the Ferrari that they made in the 60s. My Ferrari knowledge is not there. I have knowledge of other cars. I love Ferraris. But I love Ferraris. There's a 458 right there. But my Ferrari's a bit unattainable for a guy like me. So I don't really commit myself to drooling over Ferraris, because I don't think I will ever have $500,000 for a Ferrari. I think if I was very lucky and I worked my ass off, I might be able to get a Porsche one day. So my Porsche knowledge is there. But I think the Ferrari is a little bit unattainable for a peasant like me. The Ferrari was the Dino in the 70s. Now, that was a stunning car. I loved the Dino. And that would have been drawn by someone who had his cornflakes with an edible lolly in it, or something like that. A crazy person. It was in an era where it was okay to haze people at work. People were taking risks. People were going crazy. The Ferrari of today, it looks like it was the result of a committee meeting. Frankly, it looks like something Gillette would make. It looks like a lady shaver, in my opinion. I don't think it's ugly, but I don't think it is a hairy-chested man's car. I think it's driven by someone who spends their day behind a laptop programming something and doesn't ever go quick, doesn't really care for going quick. They own a Ferrari because they fucking well can, which is fine. That's pretty cool. Like, I don't think I'll ever have a Ferrari, but I want my Ferrari to be the sort of guy who, if he was a guy, I want my Ferrari to be that sleazy Italian man. You know what I mean? A little bit inappropriate. Someone sort of probably actually needs to say, like, your conduct is not there. Now, I don't necessarily support... I'm not saying that I support the conduct of sleazy Italian men, but what I am saying is it needs to be a cheeky car, if that makes sense. It needs to be the sort of car that would hit on your wife in front of you, which I'm not saying is a good thing, but it needs to be cheeky. And I just don't see that Ferrari Lady Shaver Roma thing. It's the Roma, I think, is what it's called, which is a stupid name. I don't see that being cheeky. I see that getting the job done, doing a really, really good job, and being quite boring. It's not the sort of person you want to... It's not a movie star, you know what I mean? Like, I want my Ferrari... I want it to have Tom Selleck's mustache. And I think that's what they need to do with the Ferrari Roma, is they need to put Tom Selleck's mustache on the Ferrari Roma, and then I think it'll be okay. I think that'll fix it. So I'm glad we got that out of the way. What other cars? There are some exceptions, though, and we probably should talk about those exceptions, because there is always a little child at every car company that just wants to create something that they saw on a poster when they were a child. We like the BMW M3. We like the new Mazda MX-5. We like what Toyota are doing at the moment with the new 86. They've put a turbocharger on that, which is quite exciting. It needs to look a little bit more aggressive. At the moment, it doesn't look aggressive. It needs to, I think, look a little bit more like a Supra. They need to go through their back catalogue, see what they were doing. What else do we like? We don't like the new Land Cruiser. That's just for mums. The FJ40 was awesome. I do like the risk they took on the Prado, though. I'm not sure if I think it is a good-looking car. It might be a bit of a moose. But then again, the FJ Cruiser, the retro sort of thing that they did way back when, was a bit of a moose as well. But that was cool. That was really cool. They took a risk, which I like. I like someone to take some risk and give the car some fucking X factor. Yeah? Give someone a reason that they want to go to the showroom and see that, as opposed to going, Camry's dead. Gotta go and buy a new Camry. Give someone a reason to get out of bed in the morning, you know what I mean? Like, if you have an interesting car and your life's not very interesting, and I've had this, where it's been raining, it's been a hard day, things aren't going the way I wanted them to, and I got in my Mazda MX-5 with its manual gearbox, and it just put a grin on my face, and it changed the whole thing for me. Make something worth selling. Don't just make something because the market thinks it's great. Like, get the Camry and fucking, I don't know, put a big spoiler on it or something. Do something different. Create something that people want. Yeah? Not think is nice or does the job, or I fucking hate it when people say it gets me from A to B. Create something that people desirably want. The current generation Mustang is pretty cool. I like that. I like that it has a V8. I'm very sad that V8s are going away. And they definitely are. The new M3 is not a V8. The M3 before the new M3 was not a V8. They're twin-turbo V6s, but that's still okay. The current model Jag F-Type is good. We like that. The AMG GT is good. That is for psychopaths, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. There are some other cars. The i30N is good. I've just ordered one of those for my wife. They're good. They're for children. They're there for children. So that's a good point, actually. That has a button on the steering wheel that says NGS. Now, NGS is the stupidest thing in the world. What it is you push the button, the dashboard goes red, and for 10 seconds, so the dashboard goes red, there's a flame that comes out of the pinnacle in the middle, and you get a clock that's winding down from 10 seconds. And basically what it does is turn the turbocharger and the drive modes up to 11 for 10 seconds. And the only reason it's only 10 seconds is because if you ran the car like that all the time, the fatigue on the parts would be so great and the heat inside that turbo would be so great that the world would just suck into the turbo, which would be bad. So you can only have 10 seconds of warp speed. So that's good. But NGS means N-grin shift, which is stupid, and that's why I like it. I like my things to be stupid. So that's good. What we don't like is the new Golf GTI that looks like it was made by Beko, and you can put it on a cold wash. I don't want one of those. I don't want any of the new Volkswagens, actually. We like the new Ranger. We do like that. That has a very, very cool... The Ranger Raptor, that's also for children, which we like. Basically, my criteria for buying a car is that it needs to be you're a child, yeah? So my actual criteria for a car is you need to scare yourself into buying it. Even if it's a little bit underpowered. I remember I drove my MX-5 on a wet, windy road, and I got the tail out, and I was like, that's dangerous. And then I went back and signed the papers. The i30N, I remember my wife, we were in the car, we took it for a test drive, and she made a noise, and I said she was scared, and then we went back and signed the papers. You need to scare yourself into buying a car, and it needs to evoke something inside of you that's a bad idea, meaning... It needs to be a poor decision, and then go and sign the papers. If it's a good decision, you should probably not sign the papers, I think. Yeah. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I've had fun. That is the end of this podcast. I'm going to muck around with it a little bit. I don't know what format I want to do yet, whether it might be some interviews, whether it's just sort of me talking about stuff that I enjoy, or trying some stuff. I got a microphone, I just set the computer up, it's not that fancy. Grab a beer, and I will enjoy myself. If you think I missed the mark on anything, please feel free to keep that to yourself. No, please tell me down below. I want the show to be good, not only for me, but for you. I'm going to try and have as much fun as I can. I have had a lot of fun today, but the show needs to be entertaining for you, because there's no point in me just putting... Actually, I probably will just put it out even if there's no one watching. I don't know. But if you've got any ideas for a segment, I'm going to just try new segments. I'll name all the segments something stupid so you remember it. What did we do today? We did things that bothered me last week, and I apologise. If you've got an idea for a segment, tell me down below. If I think it's interesting, I'll give it a go. If I don't, I will tell you aggressively. No, I wouldn't do that. If you don't have any ideas, don't say anything. That's it. Thank you so much for listening or watching. If you've been listening on Spotify, that's good. If you want to watch as well, it's on YouTube. If you've been watching it on YouTube and you think it might be a nice idea to listen to it while you're drinking wine on the treadmill, then make sure you listen to it on Spotify. It's available on Spotify. You can download it on Spotify. It might be available other places yet. This is the first episode. I haven't actually uploaded anything as a podcast since I was a real estate agent, which was 2 years ago, so I don't really know where I'm going to put it. It might be available on iTunes. It might be available on, I don't know, what else is there? SoundCloud. Is that still a thing? I don't really know. Wherever you're watching it, the information will be available down below. And as always, today's episode was brought to you by Smart Yards. If you want your yard looking smart, then make sure you get Smart Yards to make your yard look smart. Make it look as smart as a gerbil wearing glasses and a bow tie, because that is important. And if you get the guys around, make sure to drink a beer in front of them, and tell them that they missed a spot, because it's important to bring everyone's confidence down a ton. You can't have confident people. That's not good. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.